Sometimes, when you're too focused on the future, you blur at the present.
There is an average of 5,400 suicide attempts by young people in our nation in grades 7 through 12 every single day. Depression is a very serious matter. More teenagers and young adults die from suicide than from cancer, heart disease, AIDS, birth defects, stroke, pneumonia, influenza, and chronic lung disease combined.
Stress is also starting at a lot of younger ages, and my little sister in 7th grade, and she is already stressed out over a test that doesn't affect her life. It won't affect her high school or the college she goes to or what kind of work she does. But she's still like crazy stressed over this one test and this one teacher. And I think it's absurd that a kid so young should have to deal with that much stress so early.
In a study done by the Sleep Foundation, 73% of kids said that they felt unhappy because of lack of sleep. We're teaching young people that education is more important than your health. And that can be a very dangerous thing to teach someone. In an institution clearly made for teaching, a school, that's probably the most dangerous thing you can teach someone.
The emphasis on high school education for the rest of your life. How a 14-year-old incoming freshman has the weight of everything I do now will affect me for the rest of my life. That's not a weight that a young adult should have. That amount of stress, half the time, you will see me in my room going from crying to screaming to laughing to crying some more to screaming some more, and it's just like a complete mess.
That means that instead of maybe studying just a little bit less and trying to go to bed to get some sleep, that person's going to study more. And then they're going to get less sleep. And then they wake up, they're going to be more irritable. Most people won't have breakfast in the morning because, again, education, making sure you're here in the school on time is more important than making sure that you're nourished, making sure that you're healthy. That same person who's more irritable, who's very stressed about that potential test, who could potentially be depressed, they go and then they're in this negative environment because they are irritable. Most of the people around them will probably be irritable. So now you're in this negative social environment, you're in this negative headspace because you're really stressed about this test. And when you're really stressed about a test, you do worse. It's proven. Do we really want kids to commit their lives to this institution of education? People who are trying to get into those Ivy Leagues have an incredible amount of pressure on their shoulders because it's an incredibly competitive field. They oftentimes don't have social lives because, again, education is the most important thing. And it's really ironic because in life you will rarely be tested on what happened on June 12th during the War of 1812. However, knowing how to cope with stuff, knowing how to be healthy, knowing to put your health first should be what we're teaching in an institution meant for teaching. An average of 112 Americans die every day from suicide.
You can't expect every single kid to be able to get through a day, and this just sets kids up to get in trouble for actually having emotions because there's so many different types of people in school, and so to leave the rest of the school kind of just to fend for themselves is unacceptable.
4 out of 5 teens that try to commit suicide have shown warning signs.
So the other day, I was with my friend Ryan and he was having a really hard time because someone said something really offensive in his class. So we went to the nurse and he was crying, and clearly if you don't feel well and you're crying and you're having a mental breakdown, you can't really go back to class. So we literally just had to stand in the hallway until some teacher came along and told us what to do.
Depression is an illness that affects over 20 million Americans.
Recently, I had a breakdown and I was just walking through the hallways alone because there was actually nowhere for me to go.
Why aren't we trying to do more to fix this?